Hey everybody, welcome to the Chai Tea Tai Chi web show. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew Brown, and welcoming Dane Dormio. How you doing, Dane?
I'm doing great. How are you tonight, Andrew?
Doing just fine. So, we've been talking about contact improv a bit. Could you tell me a little bit more about, say, what is contact improv?
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to talking about this topic because it's one that I find really exciting, and I don't know too many people who really bridge the gap between contact improv and Tai Chi. The people that I know who do Tai Chi don't do contact improv. The people that I know who do contact improv don't do Tai Chi by and large. But I think there's a lot that these art forms can learn from each other, and they're very complementary in a lot of ways. So I should probably start out by talking about what contact improv is, because most people watching this show probably already know about Tai Chi, but contact improv is not all that well known. Certainly outside the dance community, it's a form of modern improvisational dance that it's primarily a partner dance, or it can be done with partners or in groups, but the name is pretty indicative. Contact, meaning you're physically in contact with another person, and or possibly groups of people, and improv, meaning that it's free form. It's not choreographed. It's free form and spontaneous. So with contact improv, you typically some with a partner, and you start off making some form of contact. Maybe it's with the arms or the hands and the wrists, but you kind of roll and slide around each other's bodies, making contact with any part of the body, and maintaining a gentle pressure, so that you stay stuck and you're able to flow together spontaneously. And this might sound very similar to the description of push hands in Tai Chi, which is the partner version of Tai Chi. Tai Chi, of course, has the solo exercises, the forms and solo exercises, and then there's the push hands, the partner exercises, also known as Tui Shou, or I use Chi Sao for a whole range of partner exercises that can be done. There's actually a variety of them, but they all are based on the same fundamental set of principles. It's kind of like the rules are the same, but or rather, it's kind of like cricket and baseball. They're played on the same field and they're very similar, but the rules are a little bit different. But they're very similar. In fact, I think of both push hands and contact improv as being different instances of a unifying thing, which is I call kinesthetic movement arts. And kinesthetic movement arts are various art forms. They're all based on the dynamics of sticking, following, and flowing, as well as principles of balance, structure, and weight sharing. So, for example, push hands in Tai Chi and other forms of Chi Sao are kinesthetic movement arts, as well as contact improv, as well as acro yoga, which is based on a very similar set of principles, although it's done in a very different way. The sort of configurations are different, but it's based on weight sharing and sticking and these same basic principles. Also, acro yoga blends very seamlessly into Thai massage. Thai massage is unique in that you use the whole body. You use your whole body on somebody else's whole body, in performing it. So all of these things and these different types of kinesthetic movement arts kind of blend together and are based on a very similar set of principles. So they all help to reinforce and support each other. So that's what contact improv is. It's a form of modern improvisational partner dance, and there are, I would say there are probably more similarities between contact improv and push hands than there are differences.
Oh yeah? Why would you say that?
Well, so let's talk about the similarities and differences and kind of what makes one thing and not the other. So contact improv and push hands are both based on the principles of sticking, following, and flowing. And in Chinese, there's a term for this, tingjing, which means listening energy or sensing energy. Specifically, it means sensing through touch. This is a major concept in all internal martial arts, also in Wing Chun, which relies on the same principles for its own version of Qi Sao. And so with push hands, you're sticking to your partner, you're maintaining contact, and the point of contact may move around, but there's always a point of contact maintained, and you're sticking and you're following and you're kind of flowing together. Maybe one partner is leading, the other is following, or vice versa, or maybe you're just kind of flowing together. So this quality of or energy of tingjing is also used in contact improv. What would also be recognizable if, to a Tai Chi person is in contact improv is the idea of protecting the joints, because we in contact improv you do things where you're relying on your partner, but you are always responsible for your own balance and your own safety. So you might lean on your partner, expecting them to be there to support your weight. But if they're not, you have a backup plan. You're aligned and balanced in a way that if they fell away, you would be okay. You're never putting yourself at risk or opening your joints all the way in such a way that that they would be vulnerable to being injured. So in one of the first rules of contact improv is always take care of yourself. Don't put yourself in a vulnerable position or sacrifice your own structure and equilibrium. So those are kind of what you would recognize as very similar. The differences are pretty telling as well, and primarily one of the most noticeable practical differences is with push hands, you are always trying to keep your own balance. You keep your own weight in your own feet, and it's considered a defect if you are leaning on your partner, because then they can just step away and you fall. Whereas in contact improv, the point is to share weight. Weight sharing is a big part of it. So you and your partner are continually leaning on each other in kind of a dynamic way, so that the point of contact shifts and rotates around. But part of the artfulness of it, a big part of the artfulness of it, comes from experimenting with weight sharing. So maybe you and your partner are leaning slightly on each other, or maybe you actually pick each other up. You actually share weight to that degree where you're actually lifting each other off the ground.
Yeah, I've seen this in partner yoga, where you're even swinging together. Now they're doing acro yoga, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned acro yoga is like in the same category of kinesthetic movement arts. And weight sharing obviously is a big part of that. And it's different in contact improv, but it's more like the whole body, and you're just lifting somebody in a dynamic way where they'll kind of go up for a moment and come back down. But it's still the idea of weight sharing, and even the idea of lifting is kind of misleading, because that implies that you're using your muscles pull something up from the ground. But weight sharing is more like you settle into a strong root and you allow your partner to put their weight on you. And if they put all of their weight on you, they come off the ground. As opposed to like picking up and lifting. But the weight sharing is a big part of contact improv, and that's not something that happens in Tai Chi, because in push hands, because the purpose in push hands is to learn how to be stable so that another person can't take you off balance. So you're always staying in your own route, and you're never giving over part of your weight to your partner, whereas that's the part for the course.
Them to give their weight to you. That's how it's working. You're trying to like, come on, man, just put all your weight right for, throw that punch as hard as you can, please. And then you catch them and you can just toss them.
Right. In push hands, if somebody gives you their weight, right. in push hands, if somebody gives you their weight, then that's something you can take advantage of. Whereas in contact improv, that's the agreement, is that we're sharing weight, and that opens up a whole dimension of movement that you can explore. Also, what stands out as being different is the relationship. Actually, I probably should have started with this, which is that the sort of root difference is in the purpose, whereas push hands is a martial application. So the purpose is training you to be able to withstand being attacked by another person, whereas contact improv is just an art form. It's dance. It's for fun and self-expression and exploration, just pure exploration of movement. So whereas movement in push hands is intentionally designed to be very practical, very sort of minimal, very relatively constrained. The movement in contact improv is intentionally unconstrained as possible. So the whole thing is to explore and discover all the different ways that two human bodies can relate through the laws of physics. So
sounds pretty intense. It sounds very intimate, actually.
That's true. As a partner dance style, even for, I mean, partner dance generally is pretty intimate, but contact improv particularly so, and intimate and even sensual, you could say. But that difference in the purpose gives rise to the difference in functionality, such as the weight sharing, and also what would stand out as particularly different is the relationship to structure and verticality in contact improv.
You mean keeping the center of balance on the spine, keeping the head upright, pelvis tucked, that kind of stuff.
More or less, yeah. And we talk about chi sao or push hands in terms of the 6 qualities: structure, equilibrium, fluidity, body unity, sensitivity, spontaneity. And these 6 qualities are what define kinesthetic movement arts. All the kinesthetic movement arts I mentioned involve these 6 qualities. And contact improv also has those 6 qualities, but the relationship to structure and equilibrium are different, are quite a bit different. With structure, I guess both of them in relation to verticality. As you mentioned, central equilibrium is a big component of Tai Chi, meaning the spine is vertical. Whatever else you do, the spine stays vertical, as a very general rule. With and that means that your structure is aligned in a certain way so as to be able to receive or issue force out of the ground. With contact improv, verticality is not sacred, and so in fact you spend a lot of time going sideways, upside down, rolling over your partner, rolling over the floor, rolling over each other on the floor, just on one hand, on one foot, on one hand and one foot, every combination you can think of where, I mean, technically, even lying down, you're in balance. So the point of balance is continually moving, and there's no constraints about how your body moves, other than to avoid injury, of course. So the relationship to equilibrium is that in contact improv you're always balanced, but it's not necessarily vertical balance, and it's also a two-person thing. So because of the weight sharing, it's you and your partner as a unified structure have a certain balance, a certain equilibrium, and a certain structure. So the structure doesn't prioritize being able to issue or receive force from the ground. Of course, receiving weight when your partner is sharing it with you is important, but it can be done through any point of contact on the body, any kind of configuration. So you can think of all of the ways that you might move in push hands, the two people might move in push hands, as kind of this smaller subset of all of the ways that two people might move in contact improv, following the same principles, but vastly opening up the field of possible configurations.
Yeah, the human body is the same regardless of the art.
2 arms, 2 legs, and gravity.
Big center and a little, very fragile head.
In terms of the 6 qualities, structure and equilibrium are different, but fluidity is very much would be very much recognizable. The fluidity of movement, meaning that it's smooth and continuous. Body unity, meaning that the whole body is involved in the movement. Sensitivity, meaning that you are using sensing awareness through touch to using proprioception to navigate between your partner, the ground, and whatever the environment is. And then spontaneity, of course, the movement is completely spontaneous and free form and unconstrained. So all of those 6 qualities a Tai Chi practitioner would recognize in contact improv.
Yeah, it sounds like a great reason for us to practice each other's art and to learn about them.
Yeah, well, I think that contact improv and Tai Chi both have things to offer each other. They're very complementary art forms, and if you were a Tai Chi practitioner, then contact improv can help you to develop particularly your spontaneity and the ability to move in a totally unconstrained way, because it does happen. People become kind of style bound or technique bound, and sort of they get used to moving in just very specific ways, and they're unable to kind of move outside of those grooves once they're deeply laid in. So contact improv can help you develop a more open, spontaneous, and unconstrained way of moving, which is valuable for Tai Chi as well, in avoiding getting stuck. If you're totally free to move in any direction, it's pretty hard to get you stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day during Tai Chi class. We were talking about 2 different stances, one being a long stance and having 2 solid roots on the ground, versus one that has a very solid single root, and the other is able to quickly move around to adjust to any pressure coming in and to respond to any incoming force.
Yeah, exactly. The only way that somebody can get you stuck in push hands is if you limit your own movement. If you constrain yourself, then somebody else can get you stuck. But if you don't do that, then it's pretty hard to get you stuck. when we were interviewing Bob and Gene Klein, and they were talking about the anaconda, how like you can, you know, it can move in so many ways that it's impossible to control, at least for one person. And then going the other way, if you were a contact improv practitioner, Tai Chi would be beneficial in certain ways as well, particularly for making your movement practical. If you wanted to learn how to move in ways that were not just artistic and expressive, but also practical, so that if you wanted to, for example, be able to withstand somebody who was pushing on you or attacking you or trying to grab you and throw you down or whatever, or if you wanted to be able to effectively issue force, then Tai Chi would, and specifically push hand, would teach you how to channel your movement into practical ways, practical and effective ways if you wanted or needed to. So I've always considered these to go really well together. They're both a lot of fun, and I think that a great amount of benefit comes from at least being exposed to both. If you have a lot of Tai Chi, then maybe try a little contact improv just to get a taste of it, and vice versa. I think there's a lot of benefit to be had from these communities talking with each other.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to add a partner practice for contact improv into the curriculum. And when we teach on our online learning community, why don't we tell people how they find Tai Chi and how we can help share with them?
Yeah, well, we would certainly love to have you join us in our online learning community if you are interested in getting personal support with establishing your own personal daily mind-body energetic hygiene practice. If you would like to learn and go deeper with these practices, we're here to support you. And if you want to just dip your toe in, you can also find the 7-Day Qigong Non-Challenge on Facebook. It's a free Facebook group designed to make it easy, so easy to get started. There can be no excuse. So feel free to reach out to us if you have questions. Find us in the 7-Day Qigong Non-Challenge, or come join us in our online learning community. You can find it through our Facebook page and through our website.
Yeah, and for the Qigong lessons, they're really easy to follow along with. So that's what makes them approachable by anybody. But the bigger screen, the better, because there's a lot of little movements you want to see. There's great detail, and there's also almost like no detail. Very light detail, and then there's incredible detail. So we have both elements when you're learning Qigong or you're learning Tai Chi. So just relax and keep going, keep spiraling, everybody, and have a good night. Thanks very much for coming out.
Yeah, thanks a bunch, Andrew. Great talking with you. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, see you then.
Peace.